Everybody, how's it going? Alex here, and today we've got yet another demo, and the topic is round robin, or more specifically round robin allocation of typically leads and sales reps. This is something that we get asked quite a lot, and today I thought I'll make a demo, but a 3-level demo, starting from level 1, the most simplest, moving on to level 3, more sophisticated / complex version. With each level, I'm going to be showing you the database, the design of the database, the setup of the automation, and of course I'm going to show you how the whole thing works. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. All right, so let's take a look at how things actually work. So the principle here is super simple. There's really nothing too complicated in how this round robin level 1 setup works. All you have to do is basically press assign, and the system will simply take a look at the area and will start assigning the correct agents to that area, to that lead. So let's begin. Press assign. Here we go, processing now, and now it has allocated Mary to this. If I keep going, it will go through all the agents with area 1, which all of them have it. Let's take a look. And the way that it's assigning it, as we'll find out later on, it's by going by the latest allocation. Let's say Mary got the first allocation, so she's kind of immediately the last in line to get the next lead. So in theory, right now, Peter should be the one who gets the next lead. Here we go, Peter. So now, as soon as I allocate Micah, Mary should be the one who gets that one. The next one is Taylor. The next one is obviously Mike. And then finally, Peter. Mike, and now Peter. Now, for this next example, I'm just going to change Javier to be Javier and Pablo. Let's see. Area 5. Let's make them all area 5s. So this is area 5. And this is going to be also area 5. So now, area 5, only Mary does area 5. So let's see how the system will behave now. It should allocate Mary, right? Here we go. Mary, and then Mary. Excellent. Now, let's say I add area 5 to another person. So let's say Mike is also going to be doing area 5 from now on. And a new lead comes through for area area 1. That's Taylor. And now let's change this one to area 5. And now Mike should get this one for area 5. There you go. And let's change this one to area 5 again. And that should be Mary, right? Because Mike just got one. And Mary, because she's also in area 5, she was next in line. So yeah, let's take a look at now how the database is set up. Okay, here we go. This is level 1. And let's take a look at how the database is designed. Super simple, actually. We have a bunch of leads. Again, keeping this super simple, just a name, an area where this lead is coming from, area 1, area 2, area 3. You can change this for your city or some kind of geographic area. Who cares? For now, let's assume that this is just some kind of an area, right? Then we have our link to agent allocation. We're going to see how that works. Then we have a button to assign, because we want to trigger the assignment manually, but later on, of course, you can do this automatically. As soon as the lead comes through, this can trigger. But for now, we're doing this in a controlled manner by just checking this checkbox. And then we have our assignment status text field, where basically the system is telling us what's going on, which is nice. Next, we have agents. So we have about 4 agents here, Everybody is serving some kind of selection of areas. Mike is serving areas 1 and 3, Taylor areas 2, 3, and 1, and so forth. Basically a multi-select, right? Next, we have our area, sales area, but just concatenated. And we're going to be using this for an automation later on. Then we also have a link to lead allocation. We're going to check that out in a second. And then we have the latest allocation, which basically takes all the records from lead allocation and brings me the maximum value of allocated on. The maximum, yeah, basically that. Cool. Next, we have lead allocation. What is this? This is basically the marriage of one lead with one agent. Or, as I say, the allocation of a lead against an agent and vice versa. Super simple. The name is just a concatenation of agent space X space and then the lead. And for the rest of the columns, we've got lead, a linked leads basically. Only one is allowed. And then agent, again, only one linked agent is allowed. And then allocated on is basically the created time. So when a new row gets created, it will just tattoo a timestamp against that row. So that was it in terms of the database. Let's take a look at the automation side. Okay, so now let's take a look at the automation part of this level 1 process. So it's actually quite simple. Our trigger, if you're familiar with the channel, is basically the same as always. We go into automations. We create a trigger that is based on when the record matches conditions. And the conditions are super simple as well. Assign is checked and agent allocation is empty. Of course, this can be based on a completely different trigger. So you can say, hey, as soon as a record arrives, that's your trigger. But in our case, because we're doing this manually, as I said previously, yeah, we want to have control over this. And finally, we have this script that is pretty much standard by now. The only thing that changes is this little webhook. Now we have record ID and of course Airtable record ID mapping here as we know. That's it in terms of the trigger. The trigger is going to be the same for all levels, so I won't repeat myself needlessly. So yeah, that's it in terms of Airtable, the Airtable trigger. Let's jump into make. First and foremost, we get our webhook from make, which we of course map back into our script. The next step from there is to actually get the lead. So we get the lead record over here, which is where we trigger stuff from, of course, over here in the leads table. So we get that record. Then we update that record to say processing now and just formatting now into GMT. If you want, you can skip this, but I just like the system to tell me what's going on. Next, and the most crucial part of this round robin exercise is getting the agents. We choose a base table agents, and then we sort by latest allocation, ascending, and then our formula looks like this. Find the area from that lead in the sales area text of the agent more, and the result should be more than 0. And of course, I mean, I'm limiting this to 10, but whatever, you can limit this to at least 1. Yeah, so basically limited to at least 1, but you can limit it to 10 if you want to. Then there's a little filter where we have total number of bundles should not equal to 0. In other words, this should always have a result. Then I'm just aggregating all the fields from module number 6. And then I have a little router, and we have 2 options here. First option is when you actually have results that match, and the other route is when you don't have results that match. Basically, you didn't find any available agents. So in the case of when you haven't found any available agents, the situation is quite simple. All you have to do is just notify the user in Airtable that, hey, allocation complete, no available agents found. And of course, the assignment status from number 5. But in the case that you have found results, just go up to update lead and give them the good news that allocation complete and the assignment status from number 5. Finally, go ahead and create the allocation in the lead allocations table. And all you have to do here really is to match the record ID from the lead, which you can get from number 2, from module number 2. And all you have to do is just open up your array and match and bring this ID over here. So if it's empty, all you have to do is just press ID and it will populate it over here like so. That's it. Press OK. And that was all you had to do for the automation for level 1 of this round robin exercise. Now let's take a look at level 2. All right, so let's take a look at how level 2 works. The main difference between level 1 and level 2 is that level 1 doesn't have a limit of how many allocations an agent can have, but level 2 introduces that concept. So an agent can have a maximum amount of allocations. You could say a maximum amount of allocations per month, for instance. So let's take a look at how this works. I've split my screen in half so you can basically see how things work in real time. I've got my leads that I'm ready now to assign, and I also have got my list of agents where everybody has got a maximum amount of leads allocations that they can get. You can see all the leads being here, and of course the count of allocated leads, and also a field that determines whether or not this agent is allowed to receive any leads at the moment. So let's get started. I'm just gonna click here and get Katie to get processed. So Katie gets assigned to Mary. Mary got that. Then Ashley's probably gonna get Taylor, mate, I think. Awesome. Let's keep allocating. Mike. So Mike now is not eligible for any other allocations. And now Maria is gonna get Nelson because he's the last in line. And now we have something very interesting. We have Taylor and Mary. Taylor has got only 1 allocation left, and Mary has got another 3. So let's see what happens. In theory, Mary should get this one. There we go. Next is Taylor. And then we should have Maria again. And finally, again, Mary. Sorry, I meant to say Mary. I said Mary. There you go. And finally, now that nobody's eligible, let's see what the system will tell us. No available agents found. So yeah, now let's take a look at how the database is designed. All right, so the design for the database is exactly the same like level 1, with the only difference that in agents, we have a few new fields. We have max allocations, which is basically just an integer field. Then we have count allocations, which basically counts the lead allocations that somebody has. And then finally, we have eligible for allocations, which is a simple if statement that says if count allocations is less than max allocations, then yes, otherwise no. That's the only difference in terms of database design. Let's take a look at the automation side. All right, let's take a look at how the automation works for level 2. There's not a ton of differences between level 1 and level 2. Yeah, I mean, it all starts as I previously discussed. It's the same exact script, same exact trigger as we had in level 1. Now, level 2 basically is set up in a very similar way. We get the lead from our trigger. We update that lead with processing now in the assignment status. Next, we search for our agents, and of course, we sort them by latest allocation ascending, as we did in level 1. But the only real major difference that we have is that we add to our formula this AND clause, and we just say that eligible for allocations equals yes, which is that field that we saw, that we created with the little if statement. So yeah, basically we're saying that, look, that agent should be eligible for allocations. Otherwise, don't even consider them at all. So yeah, that's that. The rest of it remains the same. Total number of bundles shouldn't be 0. Our aggregation of our array aggregator is exactly the same. Our filters are exactly the same. Yeah, not equal to 0 or equal to 0. If it's 0, if we didn't find anybody, we're just saying that, hey, no available agents found. Alternatively, we say that the leads that we've completed stuff, and we just allocate that person like we did in level 1. So yeah, it's as simple as that. Now let's take a look at level 3. All right, so let's take a look at how level 3 works. The only difference between level 1, 2, and level 3 is that level 3 takes into consideration the fact that we want to assign multiple agents per lead. Very useful in certain situations where you might want to share a lead between multiple sales reps, or you might have a task and you might want to assign it to multiple people as these tasks come in, and you want to do it in a very nice, equal manner. So let's take a look at how this works. One minor caveat: I've given my agents a little bit more in terms of max allocations, so that we can see how the system behaves and how it starts to exclude people from getting allocated against leads. Go and test this out. I'm going to start the process with Katie. So it has allocated Mary, Taylor, and Mike. Mary, Taylor, and Mike. Now Mike is not eligible anymore, so next time his turn comes around, he will simply be excluded from the list, and the system will pick the next available person. So let's go ahead and continue. So now the system has allocated Peter, Jared, and Chris. Peter, Jared, and Chris. They still have got one allocation left. Let's continue. Nelson, Mary, Taylor. So we've began our loop again. You see how Mary, Taylor, Mike were here. Now we're kind of starting. We finished the end, which was Nelson. So Nelson was our last agent. And now we started going back from where we started. So in theory, Mike should have been next, but he hasn't got any more allocations. So the next person who should receive a lead is, in fact, who's next? I think it's Peter, right? Because we had Mary, Taylor, Mike, Peter, Jared. Theoretically, the next 3 people who will receive a lead are Peter, Jared, and Chris. Let's see. There you go. Peter, Jared, and Chris received the lead. Then we're going to go ahead and trigger this again. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, why did it stop? Well, simply because there's nobody else. There's nobody else to pick from, because only Mary has got any more leads that she can get. She has a max allocation of 4, and she currently has got 3. So technically, the next time there is a lead, and let's trigger that, she's going to be the only one that the system will see as eligible. There you go. If a new lead comes in, that lead is now ineligible for allocation because, well, we've exhausted everybody's quotas. So yeah, now let's go ahead and take a look at the automations of level 3. There's no need to take a look at the design of the database. It's exactly the same as level 2. So yeah, let's go ahead and check out what we've done with make and the automation side of this level 3 example. All right, so now let's take a look at how we've designed our automation for this level 3 example. Really, it's exactly the same as level 1 and 2, so I won't bore you too much with the details up until pretty much, I think, this point over here. it's exactly the same. The only real difference is in here and the last two modules. So first and foremost, what the difference is here is that as soon as I update the lead and say, hey, we found people that match the criteria, I basically copy this module and paste it right in here. It's got exactly the same parameters as level 2. And yeah, all I'm doing then is just limiting it to three results. It's all in the correct sequence in the sense of latest allocation ascending. And yeah, because I'm limiting it to 3 people, that basically means that it's going to allocate whoever it can find in the correct sequence. It's just that there is a ceiling of a maximum of 3 people, which is what we want. And what happens next is that I'm still linking the lead from module number 2, but I'm also linking the agent from module number 13. The way that, of course, we've discussed it in previous videos, the way that a search record works is that it will create bundles that will kind of like pass in a loop. Yeah, all you have to do is just link at the ID from module number 13, and it will go ahead and create maximum 3 allocations for that particular lead. So yeah, that's it in terms of level 3. So that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked this video, please go ahead and subscribe. I would love to hear from you in the comments. I read every single comment, and every single comment helps make this channel better. If you want to see some specific change, or you want me to do a video on something specific in regards to Airtable or automations, please do let me know, and I will consider it seriously. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.